Lance Armstrong is one of the most famous and accomplished athletes in the world, a cycling champion and a cancer survivor who's raised millions of dollars to fight the disease. And after battling a federal doping investigation that was dropped only months ago, he's now facing new charges. And while he strongly denies the allegations, they could cost him dearly. Here's ABC's Neil Kaldinsky.
The man who beat cancer to become the greatest Tour de France champion ever and one of the most recognized athletes on the planet.
His fairy tale just goes on and on.
Now stands accused by the nation's top cops for doping of being one of the most sophisticated sporting cheats in modern history. In this 15-page charging letter from the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency, Lance Armstrong is accused of using EPO, blood transfusions, testosterone, and cortisone, all banned performance boosters, since as far back as 1996, the year he was diagnosed with cancer. The agency says fellow riders will testify that Armstrong didn't just use the drugs, but was part of a wide-ranging conspiracy that included the use of fear, intimidation, and coercion in an attempt to enforce a code of silence or omerta, just as his former teammate and friend Floyd Landis told Nightline in this exclusive interview.
Did you see Lance Armstrong receiving transfusions?
Yes.
More than once?
Yes, multiple times.
USADA claims it has data from blood collections obtained from Armstrong in 2009 and 10 fully consistent with blood manipulation, including EPO and/or blood transfusions. Former Armstrong friend Betsy Andreu, wife of another former teammate to come forward, testified years ago that Lance admitted doping before undergoing cancer treatment.
I have always told the truth with the first-hand knowledge that I know of Lance Armstrong's doping, and I have always been an advocate for clean sport.
Armstrong concedes none of it, and this afternoon released a statement saying, "I have never doped, and unlike many of my accusers, I've competed as an endurance athlete for 25 years with no spike in performance, passed more than 500 drug tests, and never failed one." His teammates this time include a squad of high-powered attorneys who allege a witch hunt and waste of taxpayer funds. They point to a 2-year federal investigation into Armstrong, which was dropped without charges. These are the very same charges and the same witnesses that the Justice Department chose not to pursue, says Armstrong. But doping in sport isn't a federal crime. That case was allegedly about drug trafficking, fraud, and money laundering, accusations that never went anywhere. The U.S. Anti-Doping Agency has a very different threshold, and this case is all about using drugs to win.
Lance Armstrong has won 7 Tour de France titles. Everyone on earth knows that, knows him for that race. It is possible that he will lose all of those titles. That's how big a deal this is.
Armstrong seemed to know this was coming and spoke of a possible USADA case with Men's Journal this month. In my mind, I'm truly done. You can interpret that however you want, but no matter what happens, I'm finished. I'm done fighting. I've moved on. If there are other things that arise, I'm not contesting anything. Case closed. Armstrong is a major celebrity, now just as comfortable with world leaders and members of Congress as Hollywood elite. His biggest sponsor, Nike, says tonight its relationship with Lance remains as strong as ever. So why go forward with a case after he's already retired, especially considering Armstrong's stature in the cancer community?
We have hit steroid fatigue in the United States. But the flip side of that is, don't we need to know? Shouldn't we find out if he cheated too?
Armstrong isn't the only accused rider, but according to what was filed today, every other U.S. rider contacted by USADA regarding doping in cycling agreed to truthfully and fully describe their involvement in doping. They are riders Armstrong's attorneys believe are looking to make deals for themselves, riders with questionable credibility because of their own alleged cheating.
I have to say, Floyd, you say it in such a matter-of-fact way, and yet this is a man, Lance Armstrong, who was denied up and down for a decade that he's on anything but his bike, anything but just hard work.
I denied it as well.
You're saying Lance Armstrong is a liar?
Yes, I suppose if that's the question, yes.
Armstrong was in the midst of a new sporting career, hoping for a miraculous win at the Hawaii Ironman Triathlon. That will have to wait. He's now suspended from competition, digging in for a fight to keep his reputation. I'm Neil Karlinski for Nightline in Seattle.